You know us, we are the company that offers affordable networking equipment with features so wide-ranging that sometimes we don't even know what to do with them ourselves. But our users do. We love to see their setups with all the creativity that they bring along with them. That is why I had a call with Andrew, who has a very interesting YouTube channel that I like. More importantly, he has his own home lab setup incorporating MikroTik equipment, and I got a feeling he's about to do some upgrades. So can you tell us more about your channel? What is it? What sort of videos do you post?
So I like talking about home lab, like small business, home network topics. So things like virtualization, networking. I do a lot of topics involving Proxmox, virtual environment, things like that.
That's pretty cool. When, at least judging by the YouTube analytics, that's exactly what our MikroTik channel audience is interested in. What is your background? What have you done in the past? Do you still work, or is this your main thing that you do?
So this is the main thing I do right now. So I actually studied in computer engineering, which is kind of between electrical engineering and computer science, dealing with things like logic, computer architecture, stuff like that. And so I actually worked in aviation for a while doing low-level software. So I would write and test code in C, but I also did some assembly code, things like that. So this is kind of what I got for my network right now. So it's a little bit of a mess, but it's also extremely full. So I have a CRS-328, which is one of your switches that's kind of acting as my core switch. And then I have an unmanaged D-Link switch that's just giving me more ports. And pretty much every single port here is full of stuff.
Cool, so you have a bunch of stuff going on there and you need some expansion, so you could definitely use another MikroTik switch.
I definitely could. So the CRS-328 I've had for, I don't know, probably about 6 years now. I think I got it in like 2018. I was hoping to upgrade my network to 10 gig back then between my file server and my desktop. And I actually hit a snag doing that upgrade because all the cabling in my house is Cat5, not enhanced, just regular Cat5 from the 90s. And I was unable to get 10 gig to run over that with the SFP Plus transceivers.
So right now you're stuck with this Cat5, and I see you're mostly Ethernet cables, but I'm assuming you're looking to get some optics going as well.
Yeah, so one of the problems I had with the Cat5 was that I have to use an SFP Plus transceiver with the CRS-328, and those don't have as high of a transmit power as like a native 10 gig Ethernet port. So that could have been why I couldn't run 10 gig over copper. The other thing is that I have a bunch of devices now that are 2.5 gig. So I got another picture here. And all of these things here, a lot of them are set up at 2.5 gig because that's common on a lot of new consumer equipment. So I have a mix of like used enterprise and new consumer equipment. And a lot of consumer stuff now has 2.5 gig. So I'd like to be able to mix in some 2.5 gig and some 10 gig. And I have the option of doing fiber as well. So I have some fiber stuff now mostly because the fiber network cards are cheaper than copper network cards at 10 gig.
Awesome. So I think to sort of future-proof a little bit, we should get you a 10 gigabit switch. And we actually have this one switch that has combo ports, so you can switch between using optics or Ethernet, wired Ethernet, like a copper Ethernet if you need to.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think it's a 12-port switch, right?
Yeah, it's a 12-port switch, and 4 of them are combo ports.
CRS-312 4C plus 8XG-RM. So another reason to use optics for me is that I already ran optics from my basement to my laundry room. My laundry room backs up to my office, so I could run additional fiber from the laundry room to my office if I need to. And I ran this a couple years ago when I was pulling some new wire through the attic because it's a lot of work to do that and I might as well pull more than one wire at a time. So I ran a single fiber, which means I have to use what's called like a bi-die optic or bidirectional optic. It uses a different wavelength in each direction. So I have a set of this running at 1 gig now from my CRS-328. I have a media converter going from 1 gig fiber to 1 gig copper. And then I actually have a 100 meg switch somewhere in that pile there, because it was really cheap and I had it laying around. And I'm just connecting a bunch of like IoT gateway kind of stuff in my laundry room. So my laundry room's close to my office, And with the IoT gateway stuff there, it just needs like basic Ethernet. But if we could carry through like 10 gig fiber onto the office, the room next door, then this fiber line would help me run 10 gig to my workstation.
Awesome. We can, I think we can definitely find another small switch that will do that task perfectly for you. So I think we're just gonna need to go ahead and get the equipment for you and ship it over to you as soon as possible. And I think it will be quite an interesting experience to see how you can take that and implement in your home setup.
Yeah, definitely. So looking forward to adding some new stuff to my rack as always. I redo it kind of often, so.
Awesome. Well, it was nice talking to you, and can't wait.
Yeah, nice talking to you too. Thanks for having me.
Here's what he's getting: a CRS312 with 8 regular 10 gigabit Ethernet ports that Andrew will probably use as 2.5 gigabit ports, as he does not have the latest greatest cabling at this time. But in the future, upgrading will be a breeze. When it comes to your switch, it makes a lot of sense to get something more capable than what you currently need. Switching is a very well-established technology, and there aren't new standards coming out every year like it is with Wi-Fi, for example. So if you're looking for that 2.5 gigabit switch, just consider 10G. Networking speeds are not going down in the future. Furthermore, this switch also has 4 of those 10 gigabit combo ports, so there's a total of 12 usable 10G ports plus the management and the console ports. The combo port data lines can toggle between RJ45 and SFP plus cages, so Andrew is going to have the option to use up to 4 optical connections, but he's not limited by that. He could use 1 or 2 of them as regular RJ45s. Besides this beast, Andrew is also getting a smaller switch for the upstairs. This is the CRS305. It comes with 4 SFP Plus ports and a 1 gigabit PoE in Ethernet port that is directly connected to the switch chip, so it can achieve wire speed just like the other ports. The shiny metal case helps it cool off silently, and for less than $150, I don't know what is not to love about it. Now we're going to ship these to Andrew, but with internet magic, you get to see the result right now.
The CRS312 is up and running now. It's been running for a few days now, just handling my workstation upstairs mostly. I'm slowly starting to move over machines onto this switch from the CRS328, especially ones that were formerly 2.5 gig capable and weren't running at their full speed. So I also just ran these 3 wires here, which are going to go to my 3-node cluster. So in a past video series, I worked on 3-node clusters using some really low-end hardware, and I got some 2.5 gig NICs for those guys, so I can do somewhat better cluster replication, stuff like that. So that's going to come along in a future video, I'm sure. I also want to make a video on Proxmox SDN, so that's high-speed networking would be good for that, so I can run that over these switches. So big thanks to MikroTik for sending me the switches in this video, the CRS312 here and the CRS305 I got upstairs. They've been very helpful in expanding the high-speed capabilities of my network. So now I can edit off of my NAS at 10 gig instead of I was doing 2.5 gig before, but not even 2.5 gig most of the time because I didn't have enough 10 gig ports on the CRS328, so I kept having to switch between 1 gig and 2.5 gig depending on what else I was connecting. So now I'm connected at straight 10 gig, no messing around with it depending on what other things I'm testing. I actually have extra 2.5 gig ports I can use for testing devices, which is great. I need to rely less on proxy footage when I edit over 10 gig than when I edit over 1 gig. So at 1 gig, the editing is very choppy, editing over NAS. Editing at 2.5 gig, it's better, but at 10 gig, it's a lot better. Same with gaming. I game off my NAS as well. I was gaming at 2.5 gig just fine, but loading times are a lot better at 10 gig. So if you guys want to see more in depth of how I set up my CRS312, some of the testing I did, VLAN configuration, etc., feel free to jump over to my channel where I have a more longer setup video on this. If you guys like networking, virtualization, Proxmox, Linux kind of stuff, I do all that as well. So yeah, check me out.